Hey there, welcome to another episode of Legends with Elroy. Now today, I'm gonna tell you more about Billy Bob. Let's get started. I'm so tired. Oh, someone's already at the door. It feels like I just went to bed. Well, here I go. So Billy Bob made his way to the door and he opened it. And there was this little furry creature standing there, and it was really cute. Billy Bob said, "Well, who are you?" And the creature said, "My name is Ollie, the otter." Billy Bob said, "Hi, Ollie. Why did you have to come here at like 2 a.m? And Ollie said, "Billy Bob, I need your help. Our little fishing spot has dried up, and now the fish can't live in it because there's no water." Billy Bob said, "Okay, well, I can help you. Why don't you come back in a couple hours?" And he said, "Billy Bob, we need to go now." Billy Bob said, "It seems like that's always the case. I mean, I guess I didn't need to sleep anyways." That would have been nice. So Billy Bob and Ollie set off. And after a while, they came to this great cliff. And underneath it were all this sand and all these fish. But it didn't smell very good because the fish were very old and they were spoiled. And Billy Bob said, "Is this the area that's dried up?" And the otter Ollie said, "Yes, it is. You see, the waterfall used to flow down from up there, but it's gone now. And we don't know why. But because of that, the fish are no longer able to live here, and because of that, we can't eat them. And soon we're gonna have to leave the area." Billy Bob said, "Well, I guess I'll go check on it. Is there like a path that goes up to that waterfall?" And Ollie said, "Oh no, you have to climb it." And Billy Bob said, "I have to climb it? That's really tall. That's like 150 yards. And there's not a lot to grab onto." Oh, I guess I better get started. So Billy Bob set off on climbing. He was about 50 yards up when suddenly he heard below him, "Hey, Billy Bob, do you want a snack?" And he said, "No, I don't." And then he heard Ollie say, "Billy Bob wants an apple." And he looked down, and one of them had a slingshot, and it slingshotted an apple all the way up to him, and it hit him right in the pants. Billy Bob said, "Oh, stop it, oh no," and he almost fell. But thankfully, he was able to regain his balance and his grip. So, of the 150 yards up the cliff, he was now 50 up, and so he kept climbing. It was a squirrel, and the squirrel was like, started throwing walnuts at him. And he was like, "Oh, what are you doing, squirrel?" And he started to fall. And he fell. But thankfully, there was a branch that was growing right out at the side of the cliff. It was a tree, actually. And so he grabbed onto it. It's like, "Oh boy, that's a long way down." Whew. And the squirrel was like, looking down at him, all angry and still throwing nuts at him. He was like, "Stop it, squirrel. I'm friends with the other squirrels. What are you doing?" He said, "Oh, is that you, Billy Bob? I thought you were someone else. I'm so sorry about that." Billy Bob said, "Well, I'm just hanging here. Could you help me out?" So the squirrel came down and, well, it couldn't really help him because, you see, the squirrel was pretty small and Billy Bob was pretty big, so the squirrel couldn't just like grab his hand and pull him up because, small and big. And anyways, But thankfully, Billy Bob was able to scoot over and grab onto the cliff and start climbing again. So after a long while, Billy Bob made it all the way up the cliff. Oh, that's a long way down. Oh, that was tiring. What the? And before him, there were all of these little beavers. And there was a great big mound right in the middle of a big pond. And Billy Bob said, well, what do we have here? And a beaver walked up to him and said, state your business, son. My name is Benny. And if you mean any harm to me, put up your dukes. Billy Bob said, Benny, I don't mean any harm, but you see, Ollie the Otter said that he needs to have some of this water, and you guys damming up the stream made it to where now they're not getting any water. And Benny said, that sounds like an issue. But we need to have this dammed up here because we live up here. Billy Bob said, well, is there anything that I can do to help? They said, well, there is one thing. You see, we're really good at chopping down trees. But you know, we would all kind of like a day off. And you see, there are about 40 or 50 trees over there, and if you can get those chopped down, then maybe we can talk about moving where the dam is so they can still get enough water and fish. Billy Bob said, 40 trees? 40? You guys don't happen to have like an axe, do you? They said, no, no we don't. Billy Bob said, oh boy, that's not easy. Okay, well, why don't I help you guys out? I'll go ahead and take care of those trees for you, and then we'll make sure that the otters get all the water that they need. They said, you take care of those trees, and we have a deal. And so then, Billy Bob went over and he said, okay, Benny, look, I'm gonna need an axe to do this. Are you sure you don't have one? And Benny said, well, there is an old fox up in the hills over there who might have one. And Billy Bob said, a fox? So I gotta go, okay, well, I'll go check. So he went to the old fox's cavern. The fox's name was Frank. This is not Frankie, it's Frank. Frank's a dwarf, remember that. And the fox said, Billy Bob, I've heard that name before. You're the one who helped with the laughing curse. Billy Bob said, yes, I am. He said, well, Billy Bob, you seem like quite a guy. So here, take this axe that I have. I'm actually just holding it for Frankie. He said, oh, you know Frankie? He said, yes, we're friends because we have similar names. And you know what they say, if you have a similar name, you should stick together. So Billy Bob took this axe, and it wasn't just any axe. It was a magical dwarven axe, enchanted, they say, so that with one swing, a tree could be hewn in half. And so Billy Bob set out to chopping down the trees. A chop, a chop, a chop, a chop, and before he knew it, he was done. All 40 of them were gone. And Billy Bob walked up to Benny and he said, okay, I fulfilled my side of the bargain. And Benny said, well, 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 you really are, Billy Bob. You're quite a knight. I may need your help with something soon, but in the meantime, we'll get these dams moved so that the otters can have water again. So Billy Bob said, okay, perfect. Wait, you already removed the dams? How am I supposed to get back down? He said, well, you're Billy Bob. I'm sure you'll find a way. Okay. Thankfully, they had some rope, and so Benny held on to the rope, and Billy Bob was lowered down. Unfortunately, when Billy Bob was probably about 50 yards up, Benny lost his grip, and Billy Bob said, oh no! But thankfully, other than a very big splash, he was okay. Although I do think that he wasn't able to sit down for a while and his leg kind of hurt. But anyways, he was fine. So the otters thanked him and they all said how much they loved Billy Bob that night. So that night, Billy Bob was taking a special bath. He had some nice salts in the bath to help his sore limbs. And he was saying, splish, splash, I was taking a bath all about a Saturday night. A rubber-dubber, just relaxing in the tub, thinking of... No, again. Well, I guess it's just off to another adventure. And that, my friends, is how that story ends. Well, thanks for watching another episode of Legends with Elroy. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See ya.